Welcome to Yoyaku. Today I have for you an action/sci-fi story about time travel, aliens, and mech suits. Let's begin. The story begins with our protagonist Keiji Kiriya being asked if green tea is served at the end of Japanese meals for free by another soldier. She is Rita Vertowski and she will stay with Keiji until he dies. Keiji wakes up in his bunk. The radio is playing, and it tells us that the Boso area will experience a clear and sunny day, but we need to be careful because the UV rays will be strong in the afternoon. Keiji has had a bad dream and feels sick. In it he lost his arm and was killed by the mimics in tomorrow's battle. A piece of paper appears and the man on the top bunk tells Keiji to sign it. It is his friend Jin Yanabaru, and the form is a confession that admits to stealing alcohol from the post exchange for a party tonight, and the person who dies tomorrow will have theirs handed in. But Keiji has already signed one, or at least he thinks he has. Keiji doesn't understand why they are signing the form for a party tonight if they are going into battle this afternoon, but Yanabaru corrects him that he has the times mixed up. This is his first battle as a jacket soldier and Yanabaru thinks that Keiji just needs to relax. Keiji must have been more freaked out than he thought he was. They are in a war, but they aren't fighting against people. Their enemies are the monster called mimics. They are big armored balls of teeth and spikes, and we have no idea where they came from, but we know that they are trying to wipe out humanity. The war has been going on Keiji's entire life, so it is just another day for him. He is a soldier in the United Defense Force that the world has created to fight the mimics, but all the fighting has gradually worn them down over time. Europe, Oceania, and Africa have been lost. Mankind is slowly being hunted down by the mimics, and now Okinawa has just fallen, which means the attack on Japan has begun. Keiji is stationed at Base Flower Line. It is located in the Boso Peninsula and is the front line of Japan's battle against the mimics. Japan is the only industrial nation in the world that can produce the composite armor for the battle jackets, and to protect their supply, the UDF has sent a special military unit to Base Flower Line to help. They are the U.S. Special Forces led by Rita Vertowski, the only unit in the world that has been successful in the fight against the mimics, and Keiji is going to fight alongside them in tomorrow's battle. Yanabaru tells Keiji that all he needs to do tomorrow is come home without shooting anyone in the back and that will be good enough. He thinks that Keiji will go crazy if he starts worrying about it too much, but then again, the real crazies are the ones who aren't affected at all. Keiji just needs to be like the Sarge, who has worked out his muscles so much that his brain shrunk. But the Sarge hears Yanabaru and offers him some extra training to build some muscles of his own. This is Keiji's sergeant, Bartolome Farrell, and he tells Keiji and the rest of the 17th Company that they are to fall in at Training Field 1 at 0900. They have just had a surprise inspection, and the base commander is not happy with the inadequacies in their equipment. The company attempt to complain that it is the U.S. Special Forces that has the base commander acting like this, but the sergeant tells them they should have taken better care of their equipment. The 17th Company wonder what they are going to be made to do since they are moving out tomorrow, but Keiji seems to think that it will be physical training, which has Yanabaru worried. Yanabaru doesn't think Keiji's joke is funny, but it wasn't a joke. Keiji saw that they would do it in his dream for 3 hours, and Yanabaru hopes that it doesn't come true. Keiji's dream came true and Yanabaru is upset at him, but it isn't his fault. 17th Company is being taunted by the other soldiers on the base, and they are surprised to see the U.S. Special Forces are also watching them perform their punishment training. With them is Rita Vertowski, the best jacket soldier in the world, and she looks a lot smaller than Yanabaru thought. Yanabaru warns Keiji to be careful of women, and not to judge them by their looks, because that's the full metal bitch who has been crushing the mimics. But Keiji is confused why soldiers call her the full metal bitch, when she looks more like a puppy. Yanabaru had heard a rumor that the U.S. Special Forces unit was just a propaganda unit for spreading new weapons and tactics, and if they are just for show, it is better for a woman to be leading them. Keiji thinks that he has seen her before, but now he is staring at her, and Yanabaru wants to know if he has fallen in love. Rita has also noticed that Keiji was staring, and she is now walking towards him. Keiji is panicking, but she turns at the last moment and addresses the officer overseeing the punishment training. She wants to join the training because she has never had this kind of training before and would like to be a part of the team. Rita begins to train right next to Keiji and she asks him if she has something on her face. She says that he has been staring at her, and that she is not used to people staring at her like he was. But now she is up close. Keiji realizes that Rita looks like just a normal girl. Keiji apologizes because there was no specific reason for his staring. The punishment is over, and it has only gone for an hour, but Keiji remembers doing 3 in his dream. It must have really been just a dream after all. Yanabaru tells Keiji that it is party time tonight, but Keiji isn't feeling well and just wants to stay in his bunk and read his book. Keiji does not remember reading the book before, but he knows the lines and wonders if he actually has. Maybe Yanabaru had told him the story. Outside, Yanabaru and the rest of the 17th Company are partying. Keiji will be fighting against the mimics tomorrow and alongside Rita Vertowski, but all he needs to do is survive and come home like Yanabaru told him. He reassures himself that it was only a dream before, and that he will come back alive no matter what. It is the next morning and Keiji and the 17th Company are being deployed to Kotoyoshi Island in the Ogasawara Island chain. They must retake the island from the mimics. If the mimics make their nest there, it will be days before they attack Tokyo and the 30 million people that live there, and so the UDF must annihilate them. The attack on the island begins, but Keiji is panicking and told to calm down. His job is simple. He just needs to kill the mimics that make it past the main force. But this isn't a dream or a drill, and now the mimics are coming. This is real, and Keiji is on a real battlefield. Keiji sees the mimics through his helmet's targeting and his squad begins to open fire, but their bullets aren't doing much as the mimic begins to attack as well. A sharp spike flies past Keiji and hits his teammate in the visor, killing him instantly. It was a javelin round that the mimic had fired. More mimics are attacking Keiji's position and there are now too many for him and his squad to handle. They need to leave, otherwise they will be sitting ducks. More javelins are fired at Keiji and his squad. Several pierce through Yanabaru and have cut him in half. Keiji's friend has been killed and he is in a state of shock. But the battle around him has not stopped, and Keiji is struck by a javelin that removes his left shoulder. Keiji is now on the ground and in extreme pain, and he knows that he is a goner. Above him a mimic is hovering, and he knows that he is dying. Keiji wakes up in his bunk and is shocked to be alive. A piece of paper appears from the top bunk and Yanabaru tells Keiji to sign it. It is a confession form, but Keiji is confused. Didn't he just die? He remembers the death he just experienced on Kotoyoshi Island and is sick all over the place. It couldn't have been a dream because Keiji was certain that it was real. Yanabaru asks Keiji if he is feeling sick and reminds him that they are being deployed tomorrow. This shocks Keiji, and he scrambles for his book. Keiji flips to a scene where the detective gathers everybody together to explain who the murderer is, and he begins with small talk about how green tea is free at the end of a meal in Japan, and Keiji remembers every word of it. But he read this on the night before he was deployed and shouldn't know its content yet. It would be impossible for him to have dreamt of something he hasn't read yet, but Keiji also remembers that it didn't feel like the first time reading it previously either. On that morning he had the dream about being killed. His left arm was blown off, but maybe that wasn't a dream either. If this is true, then Keiji realizes that he has already died twice. Keiji knows that if he stays at base flower line he will be deployed tomorrow and die again, and so he has to run for it. Keiji can't stand the agony of dying again, and so he must escape. But he isn't being too careful and crashes into a woman wheeling 2 pots of potatoes. Her name is Rachel Kisaragi and she notices that Keiji is hurt from the impact. But Keiji tells her he is fine even though he is bleeding, and she thinks that he should get it checked out. At that moment the Sarge is coming down the hallway, and he asks if Keiji is responsible for the potatoes on the floor. The Sarge looks at Keiji's injury and tells him to skip the punishment training and get the wound treated at the infirmary. Keiji leaves as the sergeant is informing 17th Company about their punishment training. At 0900. Keiji escaped from base flower line, and the punishment for deserting is a bullet, but he was going to die on the island tomorrow anyway if he stayed, so he might as well run. Keiji easily got past the security guard at the US Army gate. After all, it was his job to protect Rita, not to watch out for deserters like Keiji. Keiji is running away from the base and knows that if he makes it to the town nearby, he will be able to go anywhere he wants. Before he can make it though, Keiji runs into civilians. It is an old man and his granddaughter investigating the sea because the girl thought there was something wrong with the color of the water. But civilians meant that Keiji was safe because now he was off the base and inside the absolute defense zone. Keiji's safety doesn't last, however, when the old man's head is cut cleanly from his body and sent into the air. A second later his granddaughter follows him and falls to the ground. Keiji is in disbelief at the scene in front of him, but he discovers the killer, creeping up the sea wall. It is a mimic, but Keiji is inside the safe zone and doesn't know what it is doing here. Keiji begins to run away from the mimic, and he is struck by several javelins that pierce his leg and torso. Keiji wakes up in his bunk and the radio is playing, and it tells us that the Boso area will experience a clear and sunny day, but we need to be careful because the UV rays will be strong in the afternoon. A piece of paper appears from the top bunk and Yanabaru tells Keiji to sign it. Keiji asks Yanabaru if he has a gun, and he wants to see it. Yanabaru obliges and tells Keiji that it is loaded before informing him of his firearm safety. When Keiji becomes a corporal, he will be able to have one as well, but it isn't very effective against the mimics. Keiji disregards Yanabaru's firearm safety instructions and sticks the gun inside his mouth, before decorating the room behind him. Keiji wakes up in his bunk and the radio is playing, and it tells us that the Boso area will experience a clear and sunny day, but we need to be careful because the UV rays will be strong in the afternoon. He is starting to understand how this time loop he is stuck in works. If he dies, time will loop, and he will come back to the morning before the battle with his memories from previous loops, and this will happen no matter where or how he dies. A piece of paper appears from the top bunk and Yanabaru tells Keiji to sign it. Keiji asks Yanabaru what he would do if he was repeating his first time forever, but Yanabaru is confused by the question at first. He answers that he would never repeat the Okinawa landing operation again, not even if they threatened him with a firing squad. But even if Keiji is shot, he come back, and he is the only one in this world who has to keep fighting against his fear of dying. Keiji accepts this though, and if staying alive is the only way to leave the loop, he will fight his way to the very end. He has already died twice in battle, once by the sea, and once in his bunk, which makes this loop his fifth loop. The loop where his war begins. When Keiji was a child, he would often pretend to be fighting aliens. He was always good at playing the hero who dies. He would run out in front of the enemy and take all the hits, and this inspired the humans to win the war thanks to his sacrifice. But it was a silly make-believe game, and now Keiji has already experienced 4 deaths that were not make-believe, and it was nothing like the games he played as a child. He now knows that real death is an agonizing experience, but Keiji has no intention of becoming a dead hero of a real war. He has a simple goal, to stay alive on the battlefield, but first he needs to figure out how to do that and how to fight the mimics that are killing him. Rita is back to watch the 17th Company's punishment training. Yanabaru calls her the poster girl of the Special Forces unit, but Keiji knows that Rita is no poster girl, but how does he know that? That's right, it was in his first loop that he thought was just a dream. Before Keiji died, he saw Rita Vertowski battling the mimics. Her jacket is a blazing red, and she wields a huge battle axe. She asks Keiji if green tea is served at the end of every meal in Japan for free, and Keiji is confused, but Rita has gotten herself into trouble by believing everything she has read, so she thought she would ask a local. She tells Keiji to take deep breaths, and Keiji asks her if he is going to die. She tells him that he is, and that she will stay with him until he does. When Keiji dies, she is going to take his jacket battery, so she lets him know he doesn't need to fight it. This makes Keiji laugh because it was unexpectedly cold of Rita to say. In the sky, the aircraft above are communicating with Rita, because the Alpha server and area are now under their control. Lasers from the aircraft beam down to the ground and an explosion erupts. Now mimics are beginning to attack, and Rita tells Keiji to stay there, but he isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Rita charges the mimics and crushes them all with her battle axe. Keiji is amazed at her speed and strength, and he realizes that before him stands an invincible soldier. An alpha mimic appears, and Keiji decides that if he is dying anyway, that he is taking one down with him. Keiji charges the alpha mimic and fires a tungsten spike from his pile driver. He killed the mimic, but he is struck by its javelin, and that was the first time that Keiji died. Keiji knows that Rita is strong, so it doesn't surprise him that she has survived all the battles she has fought in. Compared to her, the best he can do is take down one mimic before he is killed. Yanabaru is annoyed that Rita had just come to look down on the 17th Company and their punishment, but Keiji is confused when Rita leaves. She should have joined the punishment training and asked Keiji if she has something on her face. But Keiji wasn't staring at her in this loop, and that means that he can change what will happen in the future, which also means that Keiji has a chance to survive the battle. Even if his odds right now are 0.01%, he could turn that into a 0.1% chance, and one day he might just escape the loop. 3 hours later he has finished the punishment training, and Keiji decides that he will stare at Rita next time so that the training ends in an hour. But Keiji now thinks that next time won't matter because he will always be a rookie even if he keeps his memories and he doesn't know how he will get stronger. Keiji hears shouting and it is Yanabaru. He has lost a board game again and is being taunted by his opponent. Yanabaru relies on his instincts, but he is an amateur, and amateurs will always lose when they rely on their instincts no matter how many times they try. His opponent tells him that making moves in different situations and reading your opponent's move are techniques that he can learn if he sticks at it for long enough. Keiji realizes that in order to survive he will need to learn combat skills, and he knows just who can teach him. Sergeant Farrell is working out on his own and he wants to know what Keiji wants and thinks Keiji is worried about tomorrow's deployment. The sergeant has been stationed at the base longer than anyone and that makes him the most experienced soldier here. Keiji asks if he can train with Sergeant Farrell, but he tells him that it is pointless. He asks Keiji if he has ever heard of the old samurai expression Kirioboru. It means strike down your enemy and learn. He tells Keiji that the only way to learn how to kill is to actually experience it in battle, and that if he survives, he will learn something from it. That is perfect for Keiji. He is stuck in a time loop and has all the time in the world to strike down his enemy and learn. The look in Keiji's eye must have inspired the Sarge because he is telling Keiji to suit up in his jacket and be back in 15 minutes for training. There are 5 rules to the loop that Keiji is in. Rule 1: when Keiji dies, he returns to the morning before the battle on Kotoyoshi Island. Rule 2 is that Rule 1 applies no matter where or how Keiji dies. Rule 3: Keiji cannot escape this loop. Rule 4: Keiji will keep his memories of previous loops. And Rule 5: just because something happened before, does not mean it will happen again. In order to escape the time loop, Keiji will have to become strong enough to not die, which means he has to improve his combat skills. We skip ahead to loop 12 and Keiji is running across the battlefield in his jacket like he is a pro. The other soldiers think that Keiji is trying to get himself killed, but this is more than getting himself killed, this is his Kiryoboru. His training began with Sergeant Farrell instructing him to turn off the auto balancer in his jacket. Keiji is concerned that he won't be able to walk properly in his jacket, but Farrell informs him that the auto balancer slows him down by a fraction of a second. And that fraction of a second could mean the difference between life and death on the battlefield. So Keiji ran through the battlefield, and he has died 7 times, but now it is his 12th loop and he can run through the battlefield any way he wants. But he still doesn't know how to fight mimics, and now he must learn to attack. Jacket soldiers like Keiji are issued several weapons. First there is the 20mm rifle. It is powerful enough to do some real damage to people, but against the mimics it is not what you could call effective. The same can be said for the rocket launchers and grenades that Keiji is issued. The only effective weapon for killing mimics is the pile driver, a close-range weapon that shoots tungsten carbide stakes. Keiji will need to get real close to the mimics that terrify him. Keiji is running through the battlefield, and he finds his target. The mimic is too busy killing another UDF soldier to notice Keiji, and now is his chance to get close to it. But the mimic notices Keiji and he is frozen in fear. A javelin pierces through Keiji's helmet, killing him instantly, and he wakes up in his bunk. He is annoyed with himself for fearing that the mimics will kill him, especially when he cannot die. It is now loop 21, and Keiji has overcome his fear. He charges at the mimic and destroys it with his pile driver. He has finally killed a mimic for the first time without dying in the process. On the battlefield, Yanabaru is being pinned by a mimic. It is about to kill him, and his rocket has jammed. But Keiji appears in the nick of time and destroys the mimic with his pile driver. He asks Yanabaru if he is okay, but Yanabaru is dumbfounded by Keiji's entrance. Just as quick as he arrived though, Keiji leaves to continue fighting more mimics, and his fellow soldiers are both shocked and amazed at his combat skills. Keiji has become a soldier that even the Sarge was impressed by, but he still kept dying, and Keiji knew the exact reason for that. It is Keiji's 47th loop, and Keiji is eyeing the US base with plans to sneak into warehouse number 5. The pile driver Keiji is using only has a capacity of 20 tungsten stakes, and so Keiji has died all these times because he has run out of ammo, but inside warehouse number 5 is someone who can make him a weapon that doesn't need ammo. It is 10:29, and the company commander is about to arrive, which will give Keiji the distraction he needs to slip through the gate. A cleaning lady is almost hit by the commander's vehicle, and that's when Keiji quickly slips past the distracted guards. Inside warehouse number 5, Keiji finds the person he is looking for. She is hard at work fixing a jacket, and Keiji startles her by saying hello. The girl has dropped her glasses and cannot find them, so Keiji helps her and apologizes for frightening her. She thanks him and he introduces himself to her. She is Shasta Ray, but Keiji already knows that, and he has come to see her. Shasta misunderstands Keiji's intent, and thinks that he is confessing to her, but Keiji has other things on his mind. He points to the large battle axe that is hanging on hooks. He wants Shasta to make him one as well. It is the same battle axe that Rita wields. Shasta refuses Keiji's request because she is busy with repairs right now, and he can't just ask for something like that out of nowhere. But Keiji questions just how busy she is. Shasta Ray is a first lieutenant. She was a civilian technician who entered MIT at a young age and is practically a genius, and she is Rita Vertowski's personal technician. Keiji shows Shasta a custom external memory unit chip, and he knows that she is in need of one. Shasta tries to grab the chip from Keiji, but he raises it into the air, and she cannot reach it. Keiji offers to give Shasta the chip, but he wants her to make him a battle axe in exchange. Shasta doesn't want to be rude to Keiji, but she thinks that trying to imitate Rita will get him killed because Rita is the only one that can use the battle axe. The weapon weighs 200 kilograms and the inertia of the axe's swing can snap Keiji's body in two. It is a weapon that he has to learn to control perfectly, and in order to do that Rita does not use her auto balancer. She is not allowed to make even the slightest mistake. And Shasta doesn't mean she turns her auto balancer off like Keiji has. Rita doesn't even have one equipped to her jacket. Even in her elite special forces squad, she is the only one who does that. Keiji thinks that this is a good idea, as if he is not using the auto balancer himself, why carry the extra weight? But perhaps this was not Shasta's intentions, as she continues to dissuade Keiji from trying to become the next Rita. She tells him that Rita's first words to her were that she is glad that she lives in a world full of war. And she wants to know if Keiji can say the same. Keiji stares blankly at the question, but Shasta thinks that Keiji may have gotten the wrong idea and wants to reassure him she isn't scared of Rita or anything. But Keiji understands that Rita isn't cold-hearted and is simply misunderstood. Keiji tells Shasta that he doesn't want the battle axe to copy Rita, but that he needs it so that he can keep killing mimics. It doesn't have to be an axe, it could be a spear or a cutlass, just as long as it doesn't run out of ammo and keeps him alive on the battlefield. Shasta thinks that Keiji is an unusual person, and that Rita also said the same thing to her. For Keiji, any comparison to the Valkyrie is considered high praise. Shasta tells Keiji that the axe is not an easy weapon to use, but Keiji informs her he has a lot of time to practice. Shasta snatches the memory unit from Keiji's hands and will make the weapon for him right away with some spare steel. It has been 47 loops since Keiji first died, and now he has a battle axe to fight the mimics. On the battlefield, Keiji stands with his new battle axe. He is wildly swinging at a group of mimics who have just killed Sergeant Farrell. But just like Shasta had told him, the inertia of the axe's swing snapped Keiji's body in half, and the mimics finished him off, sending him back to the morning before the battle. Keiji's new schedule was as follows. At 0600 he would wake up and ignore Yanabaru. At 0610 he would steal the memory unit from the armory. 0630 was breakfast, and then at 0730 he would train and correct his mistakes from the previous loop. At 0900 he would fall in at training field 1 and perform his punishment training. At 10:30 he would ask Shasta to make him his battle axe, and at 11:30 he would have lunch. At 1300 he would train with the Sarge until 1745 when it was time for dinner. At 1900 Keiji went to Yanabaru's party, and at 2200 he would check his jacket and go to bed. Lastly, at 0112 the next day, he would help Yanabaru climb into his bunk. The only thing that changed from Keiji's schedule was the training regime he performed. He had gotten so used to the routine that he could do it in his sleep. The UDF soldiers are complimenting Rachel on the lunch today. For Keiji, it had tasted good in the beginning, but he has eaten the same meal 80 times in a row, and anyone would get tired of it. The time is 11:40, and Keiji is staring at Rita eating her lunch. Rita is supposed to be 22, but Keiji thinks that she's surprisingly childish for her age. He thinks that she would probably look cute in normal clothes and not a military uniform. Keiji's meal is interrupted by a soldier who has a bone to pick with him. This is the first time that someone has tried to pick a fight with Keiji, and the soldier doesn't like the look on Keiji's face. Food is the one thing he can enjoy, and Keiji's miserable look is making him sick. Rachel intervenes and tries to stop the fight, because even though she commented on Keiji's expression, the soldier has gone too far. Keiji looks at himself in the reflection of a plate and realizes just how miserable he looked. Rachel tries to resolve the situation by giving the soldier a free shrimp, but he isn't done with Keiji. Keiji dodges the soldier and sends him tumbling into a table and some chairs. Now the fight is on, and the cafeteria are cheering it on. The soldier throws a punch at Keiji, but his attack is meaningless. After 80 loops, Keiji's combat skills have far surpassed the soldier's, even if he hasn't already experienced this fight. Keiji has slowed down his perception of time and not a single blow has landed against him. The crowd is cheering Keiji on to fight back, but he thinks that if he wins, he won't be able to continue his training. Keiji decides to let the soldier land a blow so that the fight can end, and he is knocked down. Yanabaru is let down by Keiji's defeat, but his reflexes have impressed Rita. Keiji wakes up in the kitchen and Rachel asks if he's alright. She apologizes for the soldier that hit him, but Keiji thinks that he should be the one to apologize for his expression when eating her food. He had looked like he was at a funeral, and we see why he had such a long face. In the previous loop, Keiji had gotten Sergeant Farrell killed. Keiji tells Rachel he will be careful from now on, but she is more interested in why Keiji didn't fight back, since he was clearly the better fighter, but Keiji tells her he wants to save his strength for the battlefield. Rachel asks Keiji if he is seeing anyone, and he isn't. Since he is going into battle tomorrow, Rachel tells him that she is free tonight, but not to get the wrong idea, because she doesn't say this sort of thing to just anyone. Keiji apologizes, because he isn't the guy Rachel is looking for, and besides he has to train. Keiji thinks that Rachel reminds him of a librarian he had a crush on in high school, but his broken heart and him joining the UDF aren't related, or at least he doesn't think they are. Keiji bursts through to the Sarge's training room, and he thinks that Keiji might be getting cold feet for tomorrow's deployment. But Keiji wants to train with him. We skip to loop 99, and Keiji is killed 45 minutes into the battle. It is loop 110, and the mimics have broken through their line. Yanabaru is the weak link, and Keiji is dead 57 minutes into the battle. In loop 123, the migraines that started after loop 50 have started getting worse, and Keiji is no longer focused on saving his fellow soldiers. He is dead 61 minutes into the battle. It is loop 154, and Keiji is surrounded by a graveyard of mimics that he has created. He loses consciousness 80 minutes into the battle. He doesn't think he has died, but he was still caught in the loop. It is now loop 158, and Keiji is a one-man army, moving across the battlefield like a tornado. He is effortlessly cleaving mimics in two with his axe, and the 17th Company is in awe of Keiji's combat prowess. Sergeant Farrell orders the 17th Company to support Keiji and not get in his way. Keiji was no longer the green recruit that had been caught in the winds of war, he had become a machine of blood that bent the battlefield to his will. Ahead, Rita is informed that Keiji's unit are approaching the Alpha server. This wasn't expected. Keiji spots a soldier about to be killed by a mimic. He kicks the soldier out of the way of the mimic's javelin, and then thrusts his axe through the mimic. Keiji asks the soldier if he remembers how many points they had lost by in a rugby game a month ago. The soldier is dumbfounded at Keiji's small talk. Keiji remembers that Rita had saved him once when he was still weak, and she had kept him calm with her small talk about green tea. In the distance, an explosion erupts on the battlefield, and Rita emerges from the flames. Keiji knows that the area will be okay because Rita is there. The soldiers gained hope whenever they saw Rita's red jacket. To Keiji, it was as if they had fallen in love with a Valkyrie. They had given her the name, Full Metal Bitch, out of respect. And maybe Keiji was starting to feel something for Rita as well. But Keiji can't love anyone right now, after all, it wouldn't matter once he went to the next loop. Ahead, Keiji spots the mimic that he killed in his first loop, and now he is going to show it just how far he has come. A static voice comes through his helmet. It is Rita, and she is talking to him. She wants to know how many loops this is for him. We cut to Pittsfield, Illinois. It is a small town of 4,000 people. The air is clean, and there is a vast and beautiful sky. This is where a girl whose name is redacted grew up. The girl had average grades in her junior high school, and she doesn't like green peppers or celery, and the only thing she is good at is playing horseshoes and pretending to cry. She approaches her father with an upset look on her face, and he asks her if her mother has been yelling at her again. Her father says that he will take her into town later to cheer her up, but we see that her tears weren't real, and she was only pretending to be upset. The two enter a store, and the owner has been waiting for them. He has some coffee beans from Hawaii for the girl's father. There is some news from the United Defense Force. The military has retreated from Hawaii and they returned to their base in San Francisco. The girl's father is sure that the mimics will not come to their landlocked town in the middle of nowhere, but he doesn't know what will happen now. The store owner doesn't either, but he says that some scientists think that the mimics are aliens from outer space, and since humans can't communicate with them, they will be at war until one of them is wiped out. Maybe the girl's father can beat the mimics with his jujitsu skills. But that was a long time ago, and now he is an old man. The store owner asks the girl if she is going to join the defense force. She won't, the town may be in the middle of nowhere, but she likes it there. It is nighttime in Pittsfield, and there is a heavy snow falling on the town. It was an unusually cold winter. Noises outside have awoken the girl, and she goes to look out the window to see what is causing them. Outside, the girl sees a man that has been impaled by several javelins. Her father bursts into her room and takes her away. The pair rush outside, and the town of Pittsfield is on fire. The girl is in disbelief that this could be happening, and her father makes her get inside a cellar. She is not to come out no matter what happens. Inside the cellar, her mother is lying down with a wound to her stomach. Outside, a mimic is approaching the cellar, but the girl's father stops it by ramming it with his truck. The mimic is not harmed by the truck, however, and now there is a large dent in the truck's front. Another mimic has arrived, and the girl's father escapes from the truck just as several javelins burst through the truck's roof. The truck is destroyed, and now the girl is watching her father fight for his life against the two mimics outside. The girl's father taunts the two mimics, and they fire their javelins at him. But this was his plan all along, as he dodges the javelins and causes the mimics to kill each other instead. The girl's father is wounded, and now there is a third mimic approaching. The cellar is open from the outside and in comes two UDF soldiers to rescue the girl and her mother, but her mother has also died from her wounds. Outside, the UDF are counting the bodies, and the town of Pittsfield has been destroyed. It was only 3 scout mimics, but they had managed to kill 1,500 people and destroy Pittsfield, and it had all happened 3 hours before the UDF was supposed to arrive in the town. The girl had lost everything, and a distant relative had taken her in. It is everyone's right to join the United Defense Force when they turn 18, but the girl was too young to join. Instead, she stole the passport of a refugee named Rita Vertovsky that lived next door and used it to join the UDF. Now that the girl had nothing to live for, she only had one goal: to kill every mimic on the planet. Any place the mimics touch will become a wasteland, and the water will turn a murky green color. The mimics eat the earth and drink the water, and then spew out a poisonous substance that is only beneficial to them. It is 6 months after Rita joined the UDF. She has been transferred to a squad of veteran soldiers, led by First Lieutenant Arthur Hendricks. Hendricks notices that Rita is having a bad day on the battlefield, and so he makes small talk to her about how nomadic people from China mixing animal blood in their tea could be the origin of vampire myths in Eastern Europe. Rita is feeling better now and realizes that Hendricks had made small talk with her on purpose. Ahead, an alpha mimic has emerged from the ground, and Rita notices that this mimic is different from the others. Apart from being larger, this mimic has an antenna on it. But a mimic is a mimic, and Rita kills it all the same. Rita is in the shower at the UDF base, and she is confused. She is sure she was just on the battlefield, but when she checks she sees that there is still 30 hours until the battle. Her loop has begun after she killed the strange-looking mimic with the antenna. It is loop 2, and Rita is back on the battlefield. She locates the alpha mimic again, and she is going to kill it again to see if it really rewinds time. Rita is once again in the shower at the UDF base, and she is certain that she is now stuck in a time loop. Rita is fighting through several loops, and she is still shocked by her situation, and uncertain of the rules of the time loop. It is Rita's 12th loop, and she is confident that the alpha mimic with the antenna is the key to escaping. But each loop there are more and more mimics protecting it. Rita passes by a soldier that wasn't dead in her previous loop and discovers Keiji's 5th rule. But the distraction was fatal for her, and she's struck by a javelin, starting her 13th loop in the UDF base showers. Rita has come to the conclusion that the UDF's 20mm rifles aren't good enough for fighting mimics. She needs a weapon to replace the rifle. Rita goes to Shasta and is told that there are reports that the skin of the mimics is evolving, which is why the UDF's 20mm rifles are no longer as effective. Shasta informs Rita of a prototype weapon that fires tungsten carbide stakes, but it isn't good enough. Rita wants a weapon that won't run out of ammo, so that she can kill every mimic on the battlefield. Rita enters the battlefield with her axe and crushes a mimic with it. She is surrounded by mimics, but she thinks she is beginning to understand the loops. The loop is a secret weapon used by the mimics. The mimics have memorized her actions during the previous loop and have sent reinforcements to stop her in this one. The mimics are rewinding time to fight humanity. But if this is what the mimics are doing, then there must be rules to how the loop works, and Rita will solve it. She won't die, she will get out of this no matter what. Lieutenant Hendricks is showing the squad pictures of his newborn daughter, and he already sounds like a doting father. Rita congratulates him, but her expression looks like Keiji eating Rachel's food. She doesn't know how many times she has been through this already. Rita is struck by a migraine, the headaches seem to be getting worse the more she loops. Rita is reading a report on the mimics. Scientists have identified that the mimics are emitting a tachyon pulse. It is a faster-than-light particle with the ability to travel through time, but Rita still doesn't understand how the mimics are using it to loop time. Rita has her head in the report and isn't paying attention to what is in front of her. She bumps into Shasta in the hallway, and Shasta's external memory unit chips are spilt all over the floor. Rita apologizes and asks if they are important. They are external memory unit chips for the jackets, and they are super important. The external memory unit chips record the data of every soldier fighting on the battlefield. The data is gathered inside the Defense Forces servers for analysis, so that they can use it in future operations. Rita's data is especially important since she is the UDF star, and they have a backup copy of her data in case the servers go down. Rita has an epiphany and realizes that the mimics must also operate in the same way. If the alpha mimic with the antenna is the mimic server which analyzes and turns back time, there must be a backup mimic with the same ability. It wasn't just a mimic server, it was a mimic network. Rita had finally figured it out, and in order to escape the loop, she was going to have to destroy the entire network and do it in a specific sequence. Step 1. Destroy the antenna on the alpha mimic that emits the tachyon particles. Step 2. Destroy the mimic backups. And Step 3. Destroy the mimic server. Rita stands victorious. And for the first time she hasn't looped to before the battle. After 211 loops, Rita Vertovsky has finally escaped. But there is bad news, Lieutenant Hendricks did not survive the battle, and Rita is in shock at this news. His men are crying over his body and Rita is in disbelief. The lieutenant had never died in any of the previous loops. But Rita should have known better, people die in war, and she can't save everyone. After the battle on the Florida Peninsula, a top-secret research team was created to study the time loop that the mimics created, and they performed all kinds of tests on Rita's body, especially her brain. 211 loops had altered the structure of Rita's brain, but the scientists determined it was pure coincidence that Rita triggered the time loop when she killed the alpha mimic the first time. It was a stroke of luck for Rita and humanity. She would become the ultimate and only weapon against the mimics. We are back in the present, one day before the operation to retake Kotoishi Island from the mimics, and Rita is in the Flower Line Base Sky Lounge, staring through the window at 17th Company performing their punishment training. The loops created by the mimics are roughly 30 hours in length. Rita's strategy was to always loop back a single time. She would scout the wounded in the first loop and improve the situation in the second loop. But she would only loop back once, no matter who died in the second loop. Tomorrow will be Rita's first battle in Japan, and she wondered if the story about free green tea at the end of a meal in Japan was true or not. But that was also the story she would use during the battle. She had copied Lieutenant Hendrick's small talk. Rita imagined that if someone answered her question before the battle, it meant they had already experienced the battle and she would know that they are stuck in a loop. But in the 3 years that Rita had been fighting, she had not had her question answered. And 3 years was long enough for her to conclude that she was alone in her fight against the mimics. Rita's headache is killing her, but she notices the 17th Company performing their punishment training and wants to know why they are doing something stupid like training the day before a battle when you should be resting. Rita is questioning why she bothered to come down to the training field when normally she would be spending this time alone in her room. Keiji is staring at Rita, and its intensity catches her off guard. She has never seen anyone stare like he is now, and it is like he has been through hell. But she has seen those eyes once before. They were her eyes. Rita joins the training next to Keiji and wants to know why he has been staring at her, but Keiji will discuss it with her when they have finished the training. After the training, Rita waits for Keiji. He is approaching her and although he is wearing a new uniform, Rita can tell that he is no green recruit. Rita wants to know what the number on Keiji's hand means, but Keiji is going to answer her first question. It is true that Japanese restaurants serve green tea for free at the end of a meal. There is a silence between the two as Rita processes what she just heard and begins to cry. Rita was crying, and Keiji thought that when she did, she looked like any ordinary girl. He answers Rita's second question and tells her that the number on his hand is the number of loops he has experienced. This is his 159th loop. It is the next day during the battle on Kotoishi Island, and this will be the last loop that Keiji has to fight through. If he lets Yanabaru and Sergeant Farrell die today, they are gone for good. Keiji's helmet is beeping, and Rita arrives. The 17th Company are surprised that the Full Metal Bitch is with them, but she is just here for Keiji. The pair leave to hunt down the alpha mimic, and Keiji's helmet is showing a swarm of mimics in front of him. But it is nothing that they cannot handle together. Keiji had learned to survive on the battlefield by copying Rita's skills. They had never trained together, but they moved as if they were veterans at each other's side. Rita tells Keiji that he has to be the one to bring down the alpha mimic, and she will take care of the backup mimics. All this time, it has been Rita who has defeated the alpha mimic between Keiji's second and 158th loops. But he killed the alpha mimic in the first loop, and so he is the one stuck in this time loop. And since the mimics recognized Keiji as an anomaly, they have been hunting him down, over, and over, and over, and over again. In front of Keiji was the mimic that started this time loop, and if not for this mimic, Keiji would not have experienced all the horror and endless hell he has been through. The alpha mimic fires its javelin at Keiji, but he dodges it and counters, slicing off the antenna of the alpha mimic. He informs Rita that the first step is complete, and she lets him know that she has finished destroying all the backups. Now it's time for Keiji to close this endless loop. It is finally over, and Keiji brings his battle axe down on the alpha mimic, destroying it. Keiji wakes up in his bunk. It is the morning before the battle, and this is Keiji's 160th loop. Rita is crying again, but this time in front of the other soldiers. Keiji has realized that he messed up and shouldn't have done this in front of others. Rita asks him why he is smiling, but Keiji is just happy, and she thinks that he is odd. Keiji notices the crowd murmuring about them and grabs Rita's hand. Keiji runs away from the crowd and pulls Rita with him. The pair are running along the sea wall, when Rita stops Keiji and asks him to let go of her hand. Keiji forgot that this Rita doesn't know anything about him, and as long as he is caught in the loop, he will always be meeting Rita for the first time. Keiji apologizes to Rita for bringing her to such a bleak place, but she likes the emptiness of it because it reminds her of home. Rita stands on the sea wall and looks out at the water. She likes that the land is surrounded by ocean here because it makes the sky look beautiful. Keiji asks her if she likes the sky, but she likes the color. But if she likes the color blue, then why is her jacket painted red? But Rita wants Keiji to forget what she said because it doesn't match her status as the full metal bitch. However, the Rita that Keiji knows is like that. Keiji apologizes, he didn't mean to make it seem like he knows her, but Rita understands that they have had a conversation like this before, but only Keiji remembers. Keiji apologizes because there are a lot of things he needs to ask her about, but Rita is happy instead, because she is finally on the other side of the loops for once. It hasn't been much fun for Keiji, but Rita has earned the right to sit back and watch. She has already been through so much on her own, and now it is Keiji's turn. The sooner he accepts that, the better. Keiji and Rita are eating lunch together and they have an audience. Rita eats her pickled plum. She makes the same face she has made each time she eats it. It isn't sour at all, and Keiji tells Rita that if she wants the real stuff, she will need to get it locally in Japan. Rita rises from her seat and collects a jar of pickled plums that she starts to eat from. The pickled plums are not sour at all, and Keiji realizes that his isn't either. The audience that Keiji and Rita gathered are now cheering as the pair are devouring the pickled plums together. Keiji can't remember the last time that he actually tasted food like this, or when he laughed like this. He had been in the loop for so long that he had forgotten that such ordinary things could be so fun. Keiji and Rita spent the night talking in Rita's sky lounge. He told her about everything that he couldn't the last time he went through this day. Keiji didn't want to lose this day and the time he had spent with this Rita, but to do that, he would need to make sure this loop ends tomorrow. The next morning Keiji wakes up in Rita's sky lounge. It was the first time in all the loops that he has had a good night's sleep. He had forgotten how good it was. Rita tells him that his crazy time loop talk, and Keiji tells her that she should know. The smell of Rita's morning coffee is strong, but Keiji doesn't recognize it. He has only ever had the artificial slop, and never the natural stuff. The beans were a gift from a village in North Africa. There are perks to being the queen. Keiji tells her that when the war is over, he will treat her to the best green tea she has ever had. But this is the first time that Rita has thought of after the war. Keiji reminds Rita that the war will end someday, especially since they will see to it themselves. Rita agrees and is sure that Keiji will. The coffee is ready, and Keiji is about to take his first sip when a javelin strikes the window. Outside, a flood of mimics are emerging from the sea and pouring over the sea wall into Flower Line Base. This has never happened before, so why is it happening now? Several more javelins strike the window, but the glass is strong and is stopping them for now. Rita tells Keiji that the mimics are using the time loop to win the war and must have decided that this attack was the only way they could defeat them. But a jacket jockey's job is to kill every mimic in sight, so nothing has changed for them. The battle at Flower Line Base is raging on, and Keiji and Rita are racing towards their jackets. They are stopped in the hallway by Shasta. She was looking for Rita to tell her that her jacket and axe are in the workshop. Shasta needs a place to hide, and Rita gives her the key card to her room. She just needs to do Rita a favor and not let anyone in until either Keiji or Rita comes back. Shasta agrees, and Rita is counting on her. Keiji and Rita are suiting up and Rita says that they didn't get to drink their coffee, but Keiji insists that they just need to finish this before it gets cold. But Keiji is getting ahead of himself, despite Rita agreeing that coffee tastes better fresh, and she knows from personal experience that the natural stuff will get moldy after 3 days. Keiji asks if the moldy coffee tasted good and Rita thinks that this remark is funny. But Keiji asks how she can know it wasn't good if she didn't taste it. Rita tells him that he can drink all the moldy coffee he wants, but he shouldn't expect her to clean up after he's sick. The mimics have engaged the UDF, and now it is time to end this time loop once and for all. Yanabaru rushes in to find Keiji. He has been looking for him all morning. He's shocked at what Keiji is doing, however, it is what it looks like. He is going to kill some mimics. Yanabaru thinks that this is crazy because the base is lost, and they are dead if they don't make a run for it. But the base isn't lost so long as Keiji and Rita are there. Yanabaru tells them that they can't make a difference as 3 people and the battle doesn't need them. Keiji agrees with Yanabaru, but he is the one that needs this battle. Mimics have overrun the base, but now it is time for Keiji and Rita to get involved. Keiji has spent the last 159 loops watching Rita on the battlefield, and he knows how she intends to fight. Keiji can support her, and the two don't even need to communicate, they are fighting as a single unit. Sergeant Farrell is firing into a group of mimics with his minigun, but the mimic skin is too strong, and he isn't doing much damage. The 17th Company is certain that they are done for, but then Keiji and Rita arrive. The duo destroy the mimics and Rita rallies the 17th Company to follow her to the defensive perimeter at the U.S. Special Forces hangar. The soldiers are given hope by the sight of Rita, and Sergeant Farrell is surprised to see Keiji here, but it isn't time to talk, they have more mimics to kill. Rita and Keiji crush the incoming mimics in a tornado of carnage, and the soldiers are in awe at how the two of them fight. It is time to take back Flower Line Base from the mimics, and Sergeant Farrell orders the 17th Company to follow Keiji and Rita. Outside, the battle for the base is intense, and there are explosions everywhere, but the UDF has reorganized after the mimic ambush and are beginning to counterattack. With Keiji and Rita leading them, the 17th Company break through the mimics and arrive at the U.S. Special Forces hangar. It has been 2 hours since the mimics attacked, and the situation is beginning to become less dire. Rita tells Keiji that it is time to kill the server. He remembers how to do it, but it failed in the previous loop, so he wonders if Rita has another plan to escape the loop. They fight their way through a horde of mimics and reach the alpha mimic. Keiji destroys the alpha's antenna, and it is time for the next step. But Keiji is caught off guard when Rita swings her axe at him. Rita is standing over Keiji, and she goes for another attack against him. He wants to know what the hell she is doing, but it is exactly what it looks like, and it looks like she is trying to kill him. Rita tells Keiji that when a mimic judges the situation is against them, they send a signal into the past using their antennas, and because they were dragged into the loop, their brains have picked up the signal that the mimics are emitting. Each loop they went through, they received a signal, and their brains have adapted to it, making them antennas. The migraines that they suffer are a side effect of this. And this is why the previous loop did not end. As long as the backup antenna known as Keiji Kuria exists, Rita Vertowski cannot escape the loops. And as long as the backup antenna known as Rita Vertowski exists, Keiji Kuria cannot escape the loops. Only one of them can escape this time loop, and that means that one of them has to die. If humanity is going to win the war against the mimics, it will need someone who can break the loops, and they are about to find out who that someone is. Rita begins to attack Keiji, but he is still in disbelief at the current situation. The mimics at the base have been defeated, and Rita's air support sees that she is still fighting, but this fight is between her and Keiji. Keiji is defending against Rita's onslaught, but he can't stop everything. Rita's battle axe strikes Keiji and shatters his helmet. Above him, Rita stands, ready to make the final swing. Keiji has already died 159 times. He has no fear of death, and it doesn't matter if Rita kills him, because he only made it this far with her help anyway. Rita brings her battle axe down upon Keiji. But he made a promise to himself on his 5th loop that he would survive. He doesn't mind losing the fight, but he won't just give up and die. Keiji swings his battle axe at Rita, and the two are now locked in battle. Keiji swings and strikes Rita's helmet and the visor shatters. Keiji guesses that Rita must be thinking about the same things he is, and so he must face her. The battle between the two is fierce, with several near misses, and each landing blows against one another. Rita and Keiji are huffing and puffing, but the fight hasn't ended, and they each swing at each other. Rita Vertowski was undoubtedly the goddess of the battlefield to Keiji Kuria. He had improved his combat skills by watching her fight, unlike Rita, who had been fighting the mimics all on her own. But because of this, Keiji knew when and how Rita would make her next move. Rita is laying on the ground with a fatal wound and her jacket has been destroyed. Keiji has won. But Keiji wants to know why. Rita had known for a long time that the battle would always end this way. Keiji was the one who would make it out of this loop. Keiji is struck by the memories of his loops with Rita and realizes that she had known she was going to die. He begins to apologize to Rita, but she tells him not to because he has won. But this isn't good enough for Keiji. He wants to keep repeating the loop so that they will always be together. Every day will be a battle, but they can overcome it together. Keiji doesn't care that he will always wake up to a Rita that doesn't know him. But Rita asks Keiji to save humanity instead. He has to break out of the loop while he still can. Rita is coughing. She doesn't have much time, so if there is something that Keiji wants to say, he should say it now. Keiji struggles with the words, but he tells Rita that he loves her, and that he will stay with her until she dies. Rita is happy. She didn't want to die alone. The sun is setting, and Keiji thinks that it looks beautiful, but Rita hates red skies. That was the last thing that Rita ever said. And after, Keiji killed the alpha mimic and all the other mimics that remained on the base. Keiji was thrown in the brig for dereliction of duty and recklessly ignoring the orders of a superior officer, but 3 days later he was released, and given a medal instead. It was the same medal that Rita had received. The 17th Company want to know who taught Keiji to fight like that, but they don't believe him when he tells them it was the Sarge. Keiji has been transferred to the U.S. Special Forces unit to replace Rita. He is looking for his jacket inside the warehouse, and Shasta apologizes to him. She had tried to protect his jacket, but the other soldiers had gotten to it anyway. His new name is carved into the armor. Killer Cage. It looks like he has a call sign of his own now. Shasta gives Keiji the key to Rita's Sky Lounge, and it wasn't easy keeping people out for the past 3 days. Keiji asks Shasta if she knows why Rita painted her jacket red since she didn't like the color. Shasta says it is because Rita wanted to stand out on the battlefield, but she is unsure why anyone would want to stand out. But Keiji knows. Rita wanted to be an easy target, so that all the mimics would focus their attacks on her. Shasta wants to know if Keiji was an old friend of Rita's, but no. The two had only met yesterday. Inside the Sky Lounge, the air was stale, and Rita's smell was already fading from the room. Keiji is a veteran soldier of 160 battles. He knows exactly when to pull the trigger and can dodge a javelin with his eyes closed. While he lives, humanity will never fall. He promises Rita that he will win this war for her, but she won't be here to see it, and she was the only person he had wanted to protect. And now she is gone. Keiji takes a sip from the coffee cup that has some mold in it as he looks out at the sea. Red was Rita's color, and it will rest with her. Keiji's jacket will be sky blue, the color she told him she loved when they first met. Thank you for joining us in this story, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. More content to come.